epic INFJs. Today we're talking about why the INFJ's life seems like an uphill battle all the time. It's like this constant struggle, and we sort of look out towards others and it seems like it is easier for them. And we continuously keep asking ourselves, why is it that it's so hard for me? It seems to go well for everybody else, or at least it's easier. They're not struggling so much. They're not really questioning certain things. And it can't just be that it's, oh, I'm a rare personality type and that's why things are hard. Or very often we actually use that as an excuse or as an explanation, and we get stuck with that. So we pretty much just accept that and go from there in a way of, okay, it's never going to get any better. I'm not going to look out to change anything. I just accept it. And you know what? A lot of INFJs get bitter over this. But the problem is that we don't know what's going on. It's not that INFJs in general are just bitter people who are not optimistic and they don't want to change or they don't want to improve their life or their mindset. We all know that INFJs are very open to personal development, personal growth. They know how to look inward. So what is that problem? Why does it seem like the INFJ's life is a constant struggle? We're going to talk about that today in detail. We're going to really figure out what's going on, and I promise you, you can change that. It's not something you have to accept or just look at things differently. You do have to change your behavior, but we're going to talk about what steps to take and how to make that happen in the real world. Before we get started, remember, if you haven't done this so far, to download the poster to the 5 pillars to an INFJ epic life. And if you want to take it to the next level and want my personal help in your transformational journey, then work with me one-on-one. All the information you find in the links in the description. This topic of INFJs being in struggle is something I see all the time. I mean, you have to imagine it like this. I see the comments, I see people in boot camp, I talk to people that I work with one-on-one. It's a constant conversation with other INFJs. And this is something I can so identify with because I've been there. I know exactly how it feels. I know that I kept asking myself, why is it so hard for me to find a partner, to get a job where I actually feel like, I'm growing here, where I don't feel like I'm just observing, life from the outside, or sort of like, it's happening out there and I can't do anything about it, right? Why are others having fun doing any kind of activities in their free time and I have no joy whatsoever? So these were questions I had continuously, and it really felt like my life was a constant battle and it never got any better. And so when INFJs tell me this nowadays, I can so feel what they're going through. And looking back, when I was at that stage, I didn't recognize what was actually going on. I wasn't realizing that I was the one making life hard on me, because the truth is I didn't have enough information. We as INFJs, we are meaning-making machines, right? We make meaning out of everything. Particularly, we use our introverted intuition, our introverted thinking. We see patterns that are going on. We make a conclusion out of what we see, and based on that conclusion, we go through life. And the way we go through life is that we're made to optimize everything. We're made to doing the least amount possible, which isn't a bad thing. This can be a really, really great asset because remember, we as INFJs, we love SE, we love extroverted sensing, but it's not something that we're particularly strong at. So taking action requires a lot of energy from us. You'll see with other personality types who have SE in their higher stack, or even like SI, so just sensors all together, that they can do so much more. But the truth is that just because you can do so much more, that doesn't mean that that necessarily brings you forward, right? We have to always distinguish between being busy and being productive. And so I don't feel like sensors in that sense have like an advantage over intuitives. I think we both have our blind spots and we just have to be aware of them and then work with them. So if we as INFJs do the bare minimum because the steps that we do take are hard on us, we're also prone to say, okay, I'd rather not take any steps at all and rather be sort of like the friend to somebody who has a lot of action in their life, a lot of excitement in their life, and therefore I get some of that excitement back, right? This isn't just, like a partner. It can be friends, it can be coworkers, it can just be people who sort of feel alive to us. And the problem with this is that we have optimized our mind to being able to survive in this circumstance. So we have taught ourselves to be in survival mode continuously. That's why you hear INFJ say, I'm a martyr, I'm always sacrificing for others, I want to help others, even if that means that I'm going to suffer, because guess what? I do have the strength to do that. And we as INFJs do, we have to be aware of that. Our mental strength is very, very developed. Other types have other qualities, but one of the things that INFJs have in particular is our mental toughness. And we have used this in so many cases to survive. Imagine you're in this one room, which is your reality, and all you can do is to actually minimize the amount of effort you put in. You can minimize the kind of energy you need. That's the only way how you feel like you can improve your quality of life, because the truth is you're still going to be in that room. You cannot expand outside of the room, because once you expand outside of the room, guess what? You're playing by new rules. And that is where we have to get to. So bear with me, because it's really important for you to get the concept before we really dive into taking the steps. This isn't just going to be one of those speeches that is all metaphorically, and in the end you feel like, yeah, I get the concept intellectually, but I don't know how that's going to apply to my life. But we first have to understand what's going on. So imagine the life that you've built for yourself is within 4 walls. And whatever you do, you don't want to step out of it, because stepping out of it will mean a different kind of struggle. It will actually mean you would have to struggle in the beginning more than you're currently doing. So you might ask, okay, why is that something I would want? The reason why you would want that is because right now you're using, let's say, 70% of your strength to keep your head above water. You are barely surviving, right? You're making sure that you live an okay life. You're functioning within a set of rules that you feel like you have to obey in order to be part of society, whatever that might mean to you, right? I'm not saying society as in your country or your city. It can just be the rules that you feel like everybody around you follows. We're not talking about breaking any laws or anything, but just common things like, voicing your opinion, although it's not the common, voice. Deciding that you're going to create a life which is based on improvement, and where you're not just waiting for people to pick you. You're not waiting for, somebody to come save you. You actually become the one who says, I'm going to save myself. And so when you do that shift, yes, it's going to require more energy. It will be more struggle, but it will be a struggle that actually gets you to a place where things are in flow. You start building up something which is going to make your life easier in the long run. The reason why we're continuously struggling is because we're looking at life the way it is. We're not really changing anything about it. We're not changing our dynamics. We're not changing our life circumstances. We're not taking more control in our life. And so we're continuously struggling, maybe not to a huge extent, right? Because we always try to optimize and minimize and, make the best out of the situation. But we're still in a place of survival, and we want to get to a place of thriving. And you really have to imagine it like starting a dynamo. For example, when you're riding a bike, and in the beginning, the first steps are going to be harder. But before you know it, there is a momentum, there's a flow to it. And so it becomes much easier to get ahead. So of course, in the beginning, the first 10 seconds, it's harder to push those paddles than it is to actually walk. But before you know it, the bike is much faster. It requires much less work. So that is the intellectual explanation of what we need to change. So how does that look like in our life? Our life can only get to this place if we say, I'm going to decide that from now on, I'm going to commit my life to doing something that is out of the ordinary. Something that is not based on what everybody else around me is doing, but something that feels like, oh, these are not normal people. This is not what the normal person next door would do. But trust me, once you start doing these steps, they will feel normal to you. Because the reason why they're in your mind, whatever it may be, that drive, that force that lives within you, that says, I have something to say, I have something to share, I have a truth to live out. That thing is there for a reason. It's an urge. It's something that you actually need to take a step in order to become more of yourself. We as INFJs are very impressionable people. We're empaths, meaning we absorb everything around us. And so we subconsciously absorb when the way we actually are isn't the norm. And we all have a need for social inclusion. You might say, okay, I'm an INFJ, I don't care about these things. Yeah, maybe you don't have such a strong need for social inclusion as others. This is actually the case, right? That's why you can still do this and you can break out of this pattern. But this is also why you feel like there's a struggle, because you do have the strength. You do have that mental toughness, and we sort of need to utilize it. And how do we utilize this strength if we're set in this box where we're not stepping out of it? We're using the strength to give as much as we possibly can to others. We also use it to keep our head above water, right? We extend as much energy as we possibly can in order to fill everything up in our lives. If you say, I'm not going to use all of my power to focus on others and how I fit into this world and, all of these things, and I give myself just the bare minimum so I can keep my head above water. No, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that my cup is overflowing. I'm going to do the thing that actually will make me stand out. The thing that maybe only I can do because of my mental toughness. And that may be that you write that book, that you share your message online, that you go for a job that is out of your league when it comes to the people around you asking. When you dare to do the thing that will require you to stay on course, although you won't have that social inclusion factor in the beginning. That is the power that you do have as an INFJ that can catapult you from being in a position where you're constantly struggling and you're hoping for things to get better, and to get to a place where you say, no, I'm actually taking actions which most people are not daring to take, but I can do them because they're not like completely destroying me. I can stay strong within that. And because of that, I start creating that momentum. I start creating that dynamo effect. I start doing the thing that's going to make my life easier, and it's going to make my life better in the long run. We have to be more concerned with the trajectory of our life than what is currently happening. And I'm not talking about a trajectory of, okay, if I stay at this company, then I'm going to get a raise in 2 years because everybody else gets a raise in 2 years. You are not the one who's taking additional action to make that happen. And as I said, you have to be aware of it's going to require even more struggle in the beginning, but it's a different kind of struggle. This is a struggle for things to get easier. It's not a struggle in order for things not to get worse. And that's what we want. That's what we need to focus on. How can I use my energy in such a way that's going to require maybe more from me now, but it's going to make my life easier in the long run? Maybe it's stepping out of the industry that you're working with because nobody around there has a connection with you. Maybe it's moving to another city. Maybe it's going out of your way and sharing your message in any kind of way, although nobody around you seems to care about it. Those are the things that are going to make a big difference in your life. So make sure that you gather as much energy as you possibly can. Do it on a continuous basis so you have the power to continue towards that direction. And always keep in mind, it's going to be harder in the beginning. But that's why we talk about physical energy management, for example, in the 5 pillars to an INFJ epic life. Download the poster if you haven't done this so far, so you can actually gather the energy that is necessary to make that switch. If you want even more help with this process, then work with me privately. And if you want to watch another video now that is in alignment with today's topic, then watch the video Why the INFJ Ages in Reverse.